if you'll allow me a terrible pun, and I really hope you will, I think it's about time I talk about Loki Season 2, now that it's over. In general, I've come away with more positive feeling than negative, definitely. But there are issues, and these issues are part of the MCU at large. I've said before, it's now kind of like homework. I should sit there every Friday and just be like, oh, there's a new Loki out. And I should be super excited about it, because I'm watching it partly because I enjoy it. I enjoy the world, I enjoy the characters. But it is like homework, because I know that if I don't, then I'm going to be confused in further bits of the Kang Dynasty setup, etc., and the Kang Dynasty itself, and whatever follows from that. All of this stuff needs to be watched. You need to be fully invested, otherwise you will be confused. Things will not make sense. Now, I know there are people out there who don't treat it as I need to watch everything. They'll just watch the stuff with the characters they like. They don't care if they miss a few bits, because they're there for that specific character. There are even some who literally will just do it because of specific actors. So they won't be that invested in the MCU, but they love following a particular actor. These people apparently do exist. And similarly, in the olden days, when the source material that all of this is being adapted from existed, there were people who literally just got the Thor comics, and maybe the crossover events if Thor participated or something, but they weren't devoted to every single character. They didn't buy every comic out there. So, yeah, it's not unusual in this kind of genre. But I do think it's very weighty, and yes, I know there's potentially a reset that's planned, which will hopefully help streamline, and they might sort of make it a bit more paced out. But we just need to get to that point now. It's become so much like homework, like I say. But I did say that I generally enjoyed it, and I want to pivot onto that now. We have the returning cast, Tom Hiddleston, Owen Wilson, Sophia Di Martino, Wunmi Mosaku, Gugun Batha-Raw. We have so many people here who did well last time and continue to do well. Also, Eugene Cordero, who I didn't realise is the voice of Rutherford in Lower Decks. That took me far too long as Casey in this. But yeah, there's all these people who are doing so well, and then we bring new people into the fold, particularly Ke Huy Quan, who is enjoying a heck of a renaissance. After struggling to find roles after Data and stuff like that, when he was a kid, and Short Round, of course, he has now come back in, like with Everything Everywhere All at Once, and this, and it is so lovely to see him in front of camera again. I really do enjoy watching this guy act, because he's such a giving performer. You can tell. Every scene he's in, people are collaborative, and that applies to a lot of them. I'm just specifically talking about him now. I think it applies also to Owen Wilson, it applies to Tom Hiddleston. All of these people are very giving actors, and it really helps to sell it. And of course we have the returning voice of Tara Strong as Miss Minutes. I cannot, as someone who for a time period wanted to be a voice actor, and hey, if it ever comes up in the future as a possibility, I'd still do it, but I do respect good voice actors, and it's nice to see that they didn't just get a named physical actor, if you will, people, something that people know the face of just to do the role. They got someone whose specialism is voice work, and I love the fact that they did that. I don't know if I said that in my talk about season 1, but I really do respect that, and I love what they did with some of the characters. And the first episode didn't grab me, I will admit that quite readily. I remember that I've watched it. I don't know if I could tell you minute to minute what happened. However, the recap for the start of episode 2 gave me as much as I needed to know to go with, so that's fine. In general, I've enjoyed this, and I liked how it wrapped up. I thought it was going to go one way. I genuinely thought they were going to undo the killing of He Who Remains. And I'm like, but that messes up a lot of stuff, like Far From Home, for one. There's a lot of stuff that is dependent on the fact that the multiverse is now sort of fractured. So I was very uncomfortable. The thought that they would do that. But they didn't. They leaned in a different way, and they allowed Loki to now take on the role of the guider of the sacred timeline, making sure that the branches are maintained but controlled in a certain way. And I literally had a jaw drop moment. I wished, because I watched it last night before me recording this, so I wished I'd have filmed it, because as soon as it panned out, I was like, that looks like a tree. Oh, what's a tree from Norse mythology? This is, I believe, the creation of Yggdrasil, the world tree. Because all the sacred timelines will have Midgard and Asgard and everything on it, technically. Or not the sacred timeline, you know what I mean? All of the timelines will have a variant of those, I'm sure. So this is a variation, or a variant, I suppose, of that. That's what I believe, and I literally had a moment of amazement. After a shaky start, to have me wowed and mouth agape at the closing of the last episode, you did well. Now, I don't know what this means for the future of Loki, whether he will be able to participate, whether this will be instrumental in the, I don't know, reordering and recompressing and rejigging of what the MCU is moving forward. I really hope it is. I don't want this to be the last of Tom Hiddleston. I know I said during Endgame, oh, now he's out of the MCU now, and I'm glad that we got some more time with him. But I don't want this to be the cap. I think there is more that can be done. This is very interesting, how we can move forward. And some of you may have noticed I haven't talked about a certain actor and character, and that's because I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it, but I'm obviously aware of allegations that were levied, and I don't want to really go into that. I will just say I enjoyed the performances for the most part. I do think that there's elements of, I don't know, one-note-ishness, I guess, in performance. I don't think there's enough delineating the characters in a lot of ways. Maybe it's because we've seen him quite a bit now. At the start of, his introduction in the last season of Loki obviously was a very different beast, and we were taking him as he was then, but Victor Timely and things like that, there's a lot of similarities between these. And I know the variants, there's going to be similarities, but I'm not sure that the actor has the range required from what I've seen so far. But again, not going to dwell on it too much because, like I said, I don't know what the situation is and what's going to happen in the future. But yeah, so overall, I've enjoyed Loki Season 2. Maybe a bit less so than Loki Season 1, but it was still enough that it wowed me at the end. So thank you very much for letting me talk about that, and as always, until next time, take care. And I'm burdened with glorious purpose.